Hey everyone! Today, let's talk about something that might sound a little formal, but is actually one of the most creative and honestly calming parts of making anything new. We're going to explore the design model, not as some rigid set of rules, but more like a quiet space to think, a blueprint for your best ideas.
So, you've got that spark, right? That amazing idea for an app or a website. You can see it so clearly in your head. It's exciting. But then you sit down to actually start and you're just staring at a blank screen. It can be super overwhelming. That jump from a big, beautiful idea to that first line of code can feel like you're trying to leap across a giant canyon.
And you know what happens when we just dive right in and start coding? It can get a little chaotic. You build one part and then realize it totally breaks another part. You spend hours, maybe even days on a feature, only to have to throw it all away. It's just a cycle of wasted effort and really frustrating rework. But there's a gentler way, a way that actually saves you from all that stress. Starting with a simple design brings clarity, focus, and this wonderful feeling of smooth, intentional progress.
And that's exactly where the design model comes in. The best way to think of it is as a bridge. It's this simple but really powerful tool that connects the world of your imagination, your idea, to the world of logic and structure, your code. It's that crucial step that translates what you want to build into how you're actually going to build it.
The famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright had this amazing quote that just says it all. It is so much easier and way gentler to make changes with an eraser on a drawing than it is with a sledgehammer on a building that's already halfway up. A design model, that's your drafting table. It's the place to play, to experiment, to get things right before you even start laying a single digital brick. It'll save you from so much frustration down the road.
Okay, so let's break this down. The very first part of our blueprint is what we call the architecture. This is the big picture, the 30,000-foot view. Seriously, just think of it like an architect's floor plan for a house. It just shows the overall shape and structure of your whole project.
Architectural design is not about the tiny details, not at all. At its heart, it's about defining the major rooms of your software. What are the main areas? Maybe a user profile section, a photo gallery, a settings page. It's all about just sketching out these big essential pieces and seeing how they fit together.
So this architectural model is basically the skeleton of your system. It shows you those major structural elements, our rooms. It shows how they're all organized and how they're connected. This high-level map becomes the foundation that every other decision is built on. It's the kind of clarity that makes building something complex actually possible, especially if you're ever working with a team.
So let's just take a moment here. Just pause. Think about your own idea for a second. Don't worry about code, don't worry about any details. Just softly picture it in your mind. What are the main essential rooms that make up your project?
All right, so we have our rooms. The next layer is to think about the connections. And in our blueprint analogy, these are the interfaces. They're the doors, the windows, and even the plumbing and electricity that connect everything and make it work.
Interface design is really all about one thing: communication. It describes how your software talks to the user. That's kind of like the front door. But it also describes how it communicates with other systems, and just as important, how all its own internal parts, all those different rooms, talk to each other. It's basically the wiring that makes the whole house function.
You can really break it down into three main types of connections. First, there's the connection to the user. That's the user interface, or UI. It's what people actually see and interact with. Second, there are connections to anything external, like a database or some other service online. And third, you've got the internal connections, making sure information can flow smoothly from one part of your app to another.
Let's just pause again for a second. Close your eyes if that helps. Imagine those rooms in your project. How do they need to connect? What kind of information needs to pass from, say, the user profile room over to the main feed room? Just gently think about those pathways.
Okay, so we've gone from the big overall floor plan to the connections between the rooms. Now it's time to zoom all the way in and design the details inside each room. This part is called component-level design.
Component-level design is where we finally describe what's actually supposed to happen inside one single piece of our software. So if the architecture was the floor plan of the whole house, component design is like the super detailed drawing of just the kitchen, showing exactly where the sink goes, how the cabinets are built, and where the wiring for the oven needs to be.
So this is where things get a little more technical, but it's still in a really focused, manageable way. For each component, we figure out what kind of information does this one piece need to hold on to? What's the step-by-step logic it's going to use to do its job? And what specific functions will it offer to the other parts of the system? We're just describing the internal machinery of one room at a time.
All right, one last quiet moment. Just pick one of the rooms you imagined for your project. What does it need to do? What are the specific small tasks that have to happen inside just that one room? And don't worry about how it's going to happen, just think about what needs to happen.
Now, we've talked about these big ideas, and you might be thinking it all sounds a bit complicated. But here is the absolute best part. You don't need any complex software or some formal process to get started. All you need is a piece of paper and a pen. Let's create your first simple sketch. I'm serious, that's it. Just grab a piece of paper. First, draw a few simple boxes. These represent the main rooms of your idea. That's your architecture. Give them simple names. Then, just draw lines between the boxes that need to talk to each other. And those lines? Those are your interfaces.
And just like that, you've done it. That simple sketch on that piece of paper, that right there is the beginning of a design model. It's a real, tangible thing that builds that bridge between your idea and your code. It might feel like a small step, but it is absolutely the most important one.
I want to leave you with this one final thought. The truth is, we are all designers. Anytime we create something, we're making design decisions, whether we do it consciously or not. So the choice isn't really between design and no design. It's between thoughtful design and, well, accidental design. By taking just a few quiet moments to sketch out a simple blueprint, you're choosing to build with intention, with clarity, and with a little more peace. Thank you for listening.